Okay, so here we have his butterfly first. It's not bad. What I see first off is lots of knees. Okay, what we need is less knees, more hips. And the other thing you'll notice is his hips or his hands are getting stuck. So if I were to go back, what's happening is first, one hand is out here, one hand is already here. So this would already be a DQ'd stroke. We need to get both hands thrown around and fast together up to this point. Okay, you can see that his hips are really low, which means that there's really not a lot of forward pressure in that chest. He's letting his core relax and just letting those hips sink to the ground. His feet are coming up, so he's making kind of a U shape with his body. And that just makes it really hard to throw those arms around instead of staying up higher in the water and keeping it forward press, almost like as if you were sculling and trying to reach forward. Then you can see, right, so now his hands are together, feet are still out again, which is fine. We just want to have a little bit smaller of a kick. But then you see this hand comes out, but this hand is still deep underwater, and this shoulder's underwater, and this one's out. And his eyes are looking this way. Okay, so he's tilted already in the water. One hip is down deeper than the other. So we've got to try to even out this stroke. What I would suggest is maybe try to bring his hands out a little bit sooner and keep his head down just a little bit before his arms, by the time, so his arms are out and then his head kind of comes out. That might help keep him a little bit more even. So you can see that right arm is just coming out too slow, okay, and it's causing those hips to drop. We really want to keep a small wave on top of the water versus this big inverted U that we've got going on. Okay, so now we're going to go into backstroke. His backstroke is better. What I would recommend is bringing his chin up and then pressing the T of his back down into that water a little bit more. That'll raise his hips up and it'll make it easier to rotate along his spine, and using his hips and his spine to help him rotate. Watch, his left shoulder does a really good job of getting that full rotation, but this right shoulder doesn't seem to get that full rotation that the left does. It just doesn't come out of the water as much as the left shoulder does. His kick, we can make that a little bit smaller, keep those feet together, and more efficient. So smaller and faster, and he'll have a pretty solid stroke. Okay, now on to freestyle. I can tell that he only likes to breathe to one side, which is fine. I would suggest him trying to breathe to both, just because you'll see that the side that he's not breathing to, this arm, first it enters in straight, and then as he's breathing, it's going to pull directly under his body. He's not going to get that good high elbow catch and pull to his hip. So every time he breathes and pulls with his hand under his body, he's not doing himself any favor. It's actually just, there's nothing coming from that stroke. So he's only doing all work from this side. And you see that hand going underneath and kind of getting caught under his hip. So that's something for him to work on, and I would say really just trying to learn how to breathe to both sides and not letting that elbow come in first, and then keeping this arm out until his head is back in. Then that way he won't pull under his body and he'll do that high elbow catch that we need him to do. There's a lot more potential in this stroke for longer reaches and longer access. Really stretching it out, using that core, keeping his feet closer together, tightening that core, and just trying to get that extra 6 inches in a stroke is going to do him a lot of good. He's strong, I can tell, but he's just not maximizing his potential. You can see his side kind of curves whenever he breathes. That means he's not really reaching with that other arm.